Hey guys, it's Neveda. Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be doing a video about my pets. I've got a bunch of questions about how I take care of pets on my own, especially being a student, so with my schedule. So if you want to see more about that, or if you just want to see cute snippets of my pets, this is the video for you. I'm going to get right into it. I will have timestamps down in the description box below so that you can just click on some of the most important key points that you maybe want to hear about. So for anyone who doesn't know, I am a fourth year veterinary student and I have a dog, Django, who is a 5 to 6 year old pit bull boxer mix, and I also have a cat, Harriet, who is about 6 years old and she's just a normal domestic short hair. I got them both when I was in my second year, about second semester of second year. So number one is going to be time management. Having a dog forces you to be responsible. You're in charge of another life. So for some people who may have a straight 9 to 5 job and are more kind of consistent with their daily schedule, it might be easier, it might be better, but for someone like me who is a student and my schedule is not only changing on a yearly basis, it is changing at this point every 2 weeks for rotations. Basically, I sometimes leave Django alone for 8 hours, 9 hours, 10 hours, 12 hours, and really unfortunate circumstances because of school or work, it's been up to 13 and a half hours. So now that being said, Django is so wonderfully trained and can stay alone for 12 hours without having an accident, without causing any kind of destruction, without having any separation anxiety behaviors or anything like that. So he's really good and I'm so grateful for that, but I know that some people have dogs that need to be taken out every 6 hours or every 8 hours or something like that, and that's fine too. I think that in that case you would probably have to find a dog walker or a friend to do you favors, or run back in the middle of the day to let your dog out to pee. Essentially, I would love to have a dog walker, even though it would be expensive, but it would be a good stress relief. But Django is not the best with strangers. He needs to have very slow introductions to other people, so I can't just have someone come in and walk him in the middle of the day. So along with time management, a lot of people don't realize that you have to have time set aside every morning and every night to walk your dog. So for me, that means waking up early. I now at this point get up at least 2 hours before I have to be somewhere. So when I have to be somewhere at 7, it really sucks because I'm usually up at 5. And sometimes when I have inpatients, I have to be at the hospital at 6. So you can imagine, I really try to push it, but even then it's 4:30, 4:45. I could maybe sometimes not take Django on a full walk or whatever, but then I feel really guilty if I'm going to be leaving him for 12 hours anyway. I want to take him on a decently long walk that is going to at least tire him out a little bit in the morning. Otherwise, I just feel really guilty that he's doing nothing but sitting around. One of the positive spins on that is that you're up to walk your dog and also to feed your dog, so it actually wakes you up and helps you become more of a morning person. I think that's one of the main reasons I'm better in the mornings now, is because once you're up and doing stuff, that's it, and it's not really easy to sleep when you have a dog just standing over you trying to get you to wake up. Sometimes Django will be lazy, and on weekends he'll go, get up, eat, and then jump right back in bed, and that's telling me that he doesn't need to go out right now. So oftentimes I'll get back in bed too and we'll just sleep in. But other times when he needs to go out, that's what I'm here for, so I'll take him out, and just walking outside wakes you up and I have an earlier start to my day. Obviously, sometimes going on walks when it's freezing cold outside or it's snowing or it's raining, it sucks, but that's part of the deal. So the next major issue is finances. Having a pet is not cheap. There's a lot of costs that go into it, especially your initial kind of startup costs and then just maintaining yearly costs. So I'm a huge kind of proponent of adopting from shelters or rescues, and it is so much cheaper and you get the most bang for your buck when you adopt versus if you get from a breeder or a puppy mill. When you adopt an animal, whatever the fee is, usually $200 to $400 is the range. Your animal is spayed, neutered, and up to date on vaccines at that point, which for the most part when you get from a breeder or a puppy mill, puppy store, those costs aren't covered at first, so you have to shell out your own money, which can go up to $600, $800 in addition to the purchasing fee. And then you have yearly costs that you should at least be mindful of. So you need to have at least yearly wellness exams, which include vaccines and then also preventative medication. So that I would say between $150 to $250 you should expect to spend in a year just on wellness exams. And then for me, I waste so much money on toys and treats and just like sweaters and jackets and things like that. So I even have like my own little, or Django has his own little toy box, this little basket of his toys and his sweaters and his paperwork and bones and stuff like that. So that's definitely an added cost, but that's kind of subjective. And then I 100% think that you should always be prepared for any type of emergency. So any medical emergency can cost you anywhere from a few hundred to a few $1,000s, and it's unexpected. So just keep that in mind and be prepared for it at any given time. So I get discounts for food because I'm a veterinary student. I'm very lucky for that, but basically what should be maybe $50 to $60 for about 2 to 3 months worth of food, I get for like $20, which I'm so happy about. But that's because I get a very specific brand, like it's a veterinary brand that's more expensive. But if you were to go and get something like Purina, I think you're looking at about like $20 to $30 for at least a month or two, depending on the size of your dog. So social life is topic number 3. I don't really think having a dog has affected my social life very negatively. If anything, it's just made me more responsible for the fact that I have to be home at a certain time. I can't just like let loose and be crazy. I have to be home, I have to let my dog out and whatnot. But that doesn't mean I restrict myself. There have been so many occasions where I go out and I go to a party or something like that and I come back late, or I come back, you know, after a night of drinking, and I still let my dog out. The only thing I will say about being restricted is the guilt. I mean, it's so normal. Everyone with a pet feels this way, but I feel so guilty going out sometimes, especially if I'm working 12 hours, 5 days a week, and then I have a weekend where I have plans. I feel so very guilty. So that's kind of like a battle I've been dealing with constantly, and I find ways to compromise where if I do plan on doing something on a weekend, I will wake up early and take him out on like a really long walk or a hike or a run and get him super tired out, or play with him for a really long time before, and then go out. Or I'll have people like come over to get ready with me or pregame here, because that helps him get his energy out and stuff like that. And I feel less guilty about leaving him alone again. But I feel times like that, I just think about the fact that like this situation, regardless of me going to work and this and that, is so much better than what he was doing before. So he was a stray for several years before getting brought into a shelter and then in a foster home. Okay, next topic is behavioral issues. I feel like this is something that everyone needs to be aware of, because you cannot avoid what kind of behavioral issues your animal may run into, and it's so important to learn how to manage them or modify them, because a lot of animals are returned to shelters because owners can't handle any kind of behavioral changes they may have. I would say the best thing you can do is try to reach out to all the resources you may have around you in order to help train, manage, and modify behaviors of your pets. But if you don't have a pet yet, what I would highly recommend is adopting from a rescue that fosters dogs. So essentially, dogs that are in shelters can get pulled out of the shelters and put into foster homes. And I think that's what you should be looking for, because it really helps you get an idea of how that dog acts inside a home. How a dog is in a shelter, in a cage in a shelter, is going to be very different from how a dog is in a home. And usually foster homes, who are really good at what they do and basically professionals with dealing with dogs from shelters, can identify initial behavioral changes such as separation anxiety or food aggression or just interactions with other dogs or pets or humans. And I think that's really healthy to know that before you adopt a dog. That being said, things always change. Django was in a foster home for over a year and was really great with everything and followed all of the kind of checkpoints that I needed, and yet it took him about a year to grow into his personality living with me, and he's a little bit different now. So he's not that great with strangers. He needs very slow introductions to people inside the home, so you can't just pet him out on the street. And same with dogs, he needs slow introductions. So we introduced him to Duncan, who is my family dog, very slowly, and they get along fine, but he can't just meet a dog on the street. If you're interested in getting a pet, I please urge you to adopt, and I think that you should look through rescues that rescue or pull out animals from shelter and then put them into foster homes. And this doesn't apply to everyone. This is for more like if you're a student like me, or you have just certain restrictions where things should be as easy as they can be from the start. as opposed to there are people out there who are definitely willing to adopt dogs with separation anxiety because they have multi-pet households, or because they have a large area of land, or because they stay at home or something like that. So there is a pet out there for everyone, and I think it's your responsibility to do your research in order to find what's best for you. I think it's very okay to be picky with what you want, because that's the way we're going to make the most happy ending. And then last but not least, cats. Get a cat. Cats are so easy. If you don't think you've experienced love from a cat, that's probably because you don't have one of your own. They are very selective with, their affection and their love, and I think that's what makes them so special. So if you're not a cat person, that's simply because you haven't had a cat yet, and I promise you, you will become one if you were to have one. Cats are very different in the sense that they are so much easier to take care of. They need a litter box, they need food, and that's pretty much it. You can have anyone, even a neighbor, come by to feed your cat and clean your litter box if you were to be out for longer than normal. Cats need a few toys, like a little laser light, and that's it. They don't need baths. They're smaller, they're easier to kind of take places. There are less restrictions with cats. And I mean, I think they're amazing. I love cats. I think my cat is the best cat, and that's probably why I feel this way, but cats are just so easy. And I think that if you are looking into getting a pet, or you just want the companionship of a pet, maybe dogs are too much for you right now, cats are definitely worth it, and God knows there are a million cats that need homes. So I think that's pretty much most of what I wanted to say. If I missed out on anything important, please leave it in the comments below. I will definitely reply. And also feel free to reach out to me if you're interested in getting a pet and you don't know, how to go about doing it. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys in my next one. Bye, guys. Oh my goodness. Timing, huh? No, it is timing. What I will say is that having a dog has been the biggest blessing for me. I cannot tell you how much both Django and Harith have helped me throughout school and just being stressed. Django. Being stressed and just like coming back from work every day. It's so nice to have them here. Animals are truly the most loving creatures ever, and if you take care of them well, they have so much love to give back. I talked about all of the cons and like time and finances and behavior and things like that, but the truth is I would do it all again in a heartbeat. I have zero regrets, and I wouldn't change either of these two guys for a second.